How are you, Don?
How you doing, Rich?
Oh, my gosh. Better for talking to you.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I hear you guys talking a little basketball. I've been watching this draft, too. It's watching these kids. It's fun to watch this thing go down.
So are you a Pacers fan, being from Indiana, Don? Is that what you would say? Or
I'd say I probably started off more as a Celtics guy because of Bird and just what happened out there. But, obviously you follow the Pacers just a little bit, but more the Celtics than anyone. Obviously the Lakers a little bit with Magic, and that whole back and forth was a fun era to watch.
Mm-hmm. I love it. How have you been? I know we spoke the other day about your event in December, which I'd love to be at for sure, Don.
Well, I hope we can get that to happen. That'd be awesome for us.
Because I know. Let's talk about your charity a little bit here. I'll give you the floor on what work you do in the state of Indiana, Don.
Well, kind of just looking at this, you guys are talking basketball a little bit and watching the draft and the emotions of these kids. And really, I think that kind of goes to what we do. We want to give kids in the toughest areas chances, and that's with chances to make good decisions. And that's with computer labs, summer reading programs, safe places to go after school where they can continue to grow and get mentored. And that's really what we're all about. It's kids more than anything, giving kids with that don't get the opportunity a lot of us grew up with. I grew up in a great family, great home atmosphere, had that advantage to make good decisions, and you just want to give these kids the chance to make good decisions.
Yeah, MattinglyCharities.org is how people can get involved with you and your charity work. MattinglyCharities.org. All right, Don. I just want to go down memory lane a little bit with you here. The reason why, honestly, the reason why I loved you and watching you and so many people who are my age just still get emotional when you are ever mentioned or see it. It's just the way that you comported yourself and went about your business in a time when the Yankees weren't really very good. And I'm wondering how you view your days when I was one of those guys rooting for every single time you stepped to the plate, Don.
Oh, I look at it as great times, obviously, having a chance to go to the big leagues, and really grateful for the era that I came up in with, Lou Pinellas, Rich Gossage, Willie Randolph, Dave Winfield. Got to play with these guys that kind of taught you how to be a pro and what it's like to play. Grateful for New York. It was the perfect place for me. Kind of a small-town guy, but I didn't have to be loud or anything else. Just was able to go out and just play, and you get plenty of attention in New York for just playing. You didn't have to go be a big personality or anything like that, and that was, I think, the perfect situation for me.
What about Steinbrenner, Don? What about him and telling you to cut your hair and shave and all of that stuff?
Well, obviously with Mr. Steinbrenner and New York, you don't really get out of there alive, right? There's gonna be some rocky roads, but I always look back to the positives of that. From Mr. Steinbrenner, the one thing he wanted to do was win. That was his goal, and for the fans, for the players, and so you appreciate that. And so there are times when he's going to get on you in the papers a little bit. You got to deal with that. But I still look back at it as a real positive. As my career ended, I remember needing back surgery, and he was the first guy that he sent his plane for me, got me to New York. He wanted me to see the best doctor. So that's the kind of things you don't hear about with him, but the kind of things that he would do for his guys.
And that home run you hit against Seattle in Yankee Stadium, Don, in that playoff series in 1995, which was, I do believe, your last home run in Yankee Stadium. I will never forget it. What in the world was that like? And you're finally playing in the playoffs for the Yankees in the old Yankee Stadium, hitting a home run. What was that like for you, rounding the bases?
Oh, that was a great feeling. Honestly, that playoff was, a lot of fighting to get in. And, in kind of my era, that was the first year of the wild card. And we were able to get in as a wild card team after, years. I mean, over years we win 98 games and don't get in the playoffs, and you're fighting to get in. And so I knew my career was coming to an end, and to get that opportunity to play in postseason, that was crazy. That homer, I remember it well. It was against Andy Bennis, who's also from Evansville, which was kind of weird. You're playing in the playoffs in a huge game. You're playing a guy that's from your hometown. So there was more at stake than just the playoffs. That was like a hometown pride thing going on, too.
There was no chance of you playing in '96, Don? Obviously, that was when Torrey came and we know Tino Martinez arrived, but there was no chance of you sticking around and playing and being part of those teams that
Rich, a lot of people talked about. I really was thinking about retirement. I was really struggling with my kids were at an age where they were playing ball. And they were back in Indiana. We tried the New York thing. It didn't work very well for our kids and really my situation there. And I was really struggling with the battle between my kids growing up, playing ball, and they weren't coming to New York near as much just because they wanted to be playing Little League and they wanted to be moving on. So as the '94 season unfolded, I really felt like that I had another year left in my contract, but I thought '94 was going to be my last year. And then the strike happened and the season ended. We didn't get in. I knew I couldn't let that be the last year. So '95, really, I kind of knew the whole time that was it. It was more of a family decision. A lot of people says, "Oh, you're back," and this and that. And I kind of figured out the back finally. It took me a while to figure it out after all the problems I was having. But I knew the family thing was tough for me because even when I was at home in New York, I felt like I was on the road, and I knew it was time.
And who would have won the World Series in 1994, Donald Arthur Mattingly? Who would have won that World Series in '94?
It's funny, Tim Wallach's one of our coaches, and he said Montreal would have won it that year.
Yeah, the Expos were great, too, with Felipe Alou and Tim. You just mentioned Wallach. They were great, too, but come on.
They were. So there's about 4 teams. I think Cleveland, too, thinks they would have won it. That's the one they would have won. So, there was 3 or 4 places, but for us, it was really fulfilling '94 because we'd turned the corner. I went through had some really good teams early on. Went through about a 3-year stretch there where we went backwards and we're trying to rebuild. Showalter came in and had us turned around. We picked up some good guys, like Paul O'Neill came. We got David Cohn. We had Jack McDowell. He started putting the pieces together, and we knew all those kids were coming. And Jeet and Pettit was there. Bernie was there. So the foundation was coming. But it was just it was fun to be able to turn that corner and see the light at the end of the tunnel after going through some really rough years.
Well, Don, I appreciate the call, man. I know you're in the grind and you got lots going on, but everybody around these parts know what you mean to me personally. As you know, you met my kids when you were here as the skipper of the Dodgers. You were there the day I threw out my first pitch. I think that was your team that day when I threw out my first pitch. And my kids were here, and you met my wife, who was pregnant with my daughter, and we told you what my daughter's middle name was going to be. Right.
You know what, Rich? It's always humbling when people would do something like that. I say that in all honesty. I'm so honored when people do that. It started off with dogs, dogs and cats, and it's nice to see some. I've met some kids in the recent years that families that name their kids after you, and it really is a humbling experience.
Yeah, my daughter Taylor Mattingly Eisen, which is also great because her initials are TME, too much Eisen, which is true as well, Don. So it kind of works all around. All around. Hey, Don, thanks for the call. Really appreciate it. You are the man, and anybody who knows you would say that. So for sure.
All right, Rich. Good to talk to you, and I'll talk to you about our event.
Excellent. I'll get in touch with you the next couple days, Don. That's for sure.
Sounds good.
You got it.
Take care.
You bet. That's Don Mattingly. Good luck against the Phillies and beyond. That's the manager of the Miami Marlins.
For more of The Rich Eisen Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV for free on BR Live or download the Rich Eisen Show app.